Are you overwhelmed by the challenge of personalizing communication for thousands of students? That's where Element 451's AI assistants come in. From nudging prospective students to guiding those already on their journey, AI assistants don't just automate, they write, build, and optimize every step of your digital campaigns. Discover how at element451.com/AI team.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to a special edition of Higher Ed Pulse. I'm your host, Mallory Wilsey, and this is Enrollify's 2024 Hall of Fame, a celebration of the year's most impactful thought leaders. We've curated key moments from our Hall of Famers' appearances across the Enrollify network, highlighting the ideas and insights that are shaping the future of our industry. From groundbreaking takes on AI to bold strategies for student engagement, these voices set the tone for innovation in 2024. Let's jump right into today's episode. Today, we welcome Kin Sajpal to the Enrollify 2024 Hall of Fame. As Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the University of Redlands, Kin leads with purpose and creativity. With a strong focus on audience engagement and tailored strategies, Kin has become a trusted voice in higher ed marketing. This year, Kin hosted 3 Pulse Check series, joined Shane Baglini on Breaking Silos, and participated in special live episodes from industry conferences. In the following clips, Kin shares how tapping into students' perspectives helps maintain the goals of a strategic plan. She provides advice on effectively marketing programs to international students, including the pivotal role word-of-mouth marketing played in her own international student journey. Kin also emphasizes the importance of tailoring marketing campaigns based on student segmentations and shares how engaging with audiences on campuses can lead to stronger connections and better results. Finally, she dives into marketing strategies specifically designed for graduate enrollment at Redlands, offering actionable insights for higher ed pros. Now, let's hear from Kin.
I love that. And yeah, all great practical advice on just keeping that connection to the strategic plan and inviting students into the conversations more. Student workers, I think, is definitely an untapped opportunity. I mean, maybe not so in nowadays. I feel like, there are more and more, at least social media champions and student workers that we have found, and more social media teams are relying on students. But I do think there's opportunity to use them even broader than social and really just tap into their expertise of that subject and that topic, but also their own experience. I love that we are talking about product, because essentially the program is the product. And if your product is the same across both domestic and international audiences, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, is it broad enough in terms of its applicability and its relevance to both demographics of students, both domestic and international? So I love the intentionality behind designing programs that were meant for international students. I can testify to that. I mean, I'm not of this era of international students. My time was long time ago, when I learned about higher education and about my alma mater. But, it really was heavily driven by word of mouth. And I think that doesn't really change. I mean, maybe the word of mouth is less talking face to face kind of word of mouth, but it's word of mouth maybe through social and other digital channels, but it's still sort of quote unquote word of mouth. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, everything we do is so audience centric that if we did not have that interaction with them and their and understanding of them on an ongoing basis, really our work would not be effective. So even if it's not directly solving something that they have an issue with, where they go to somebody or their advisor or the career counselor, but it is still talking to them and listening to them and understanding them for what it is that we do. I think that I agree that keeps me at least pretty centered with what I'm here to do. No, it's marketing one on one, but it definitely bears repeating, especially when we talk about our target market in the international space. One of my pet peeves is really just when we kind of group them in one category. Even when you look at domestic market, you're not really lumping them all in the same category, because your first generation student is going to be very different from a legacy student, and somebody from in-state is going to be very different from out of state, and so on and so forth. And so we have these various levels of segmentation, and I know there's only so much you can segment before it becomes too small to be very effective, or maybe too small to be efficient, cost efficient rather. But at the same time, it's just something we have to do in the international space, is really understanding not just the country, but like you said, the micro segments that make up that country. And sometimes when we talk in continents too, it's like, oh, Latin America has XYZ, and then Africa we have, and that to me also feels a little bit jarring, because it's just there's so many nuances to consider and think about, and so different. I mean, it's one of the things that it takes more work at the front end to really get to the bottom of your key demographic in the international market space, and hone in on who they are and how they consume information, and what do they seek and what are their motivations. But I think the ROI can be tremendous. Yeah, just on that point, that we had school specific, well, I would say area of study specific campaigns in the market last year when I started. And we started to kind of, unify the agency, the paid media purchase, some of those basics that I feel like everybody should be doing by now. But at the same time, we were, for especially graduate recruitment, which I know you have a soft corner for, Shane, but we had different campaigns under a broader campaign running, whether it's for business or education or some of these disciplines. And then once the centralization happened, and once, Kevin brought in, all the graduate enrollment staff under one area, one of the things that came from them was, what if we just stop doing that by field of study? I mean, maybe we have a little bit of that still, but really talk about our master's programs. We predominantly masters, we have a handful of doctorates as well, but how about we do that and let the market kind of tell us what they're interested in? That's the type of outcome that comes with this partnership, because as we were sharing some of the results of the media buys and the advertising, it was becoming more and more apparent that we couldn't force something down other people's throats. Like, people needed the autonomy to really tell us what they wanted, and listening to the market. We had the conversations internally, and we launched this OneGrad campaign idea. Similarly, we launched a university level campaign. We didn't have one that just talked about the University of Redlands. It was all about its schools. It was all about its areas of study. It was all about some mini campaigns, I would say, across initiatives and such. And the results showed that when we drove the university campaign and launched that we had better results to those areas of study at a lower cost than those areas of study specific campaigns. And so all of these data kind of pointed us to this idea that, one, there's power in the brand, and two, that the more we unify, the better results we'll see. And, enrollment and marketing are part of every reporting meeting for marketing. We also review data for enrollment every week. So we are trying to understand both sides on an ongoing basis. I mean, perhaps maybe more meetings than we have time in the day for, but enrollment understands how marketing is performing and driving success there. And marketing is understanding where enrollment is doing well and where enrollment might not be doing well, so we can collectively close those gaps. So yeah, I mean, we can talk about successes around process, around outcomes, around just cost efficiencies, about just how working with enrollment has really allowed us to be more efficient in our spending because we have kind of prioritized where it is that we want to focus. And so when enrollment complements those same efforts with recruitment activities and outreach, and we complement that with awareness building and advertising, we know we have that 1-2 punch strategy kind of going the same direction.
Kin, congratulations on being inducted into the Enrollify 2024 Hall of Fame. Your expertise and commitment to audience-driven strategies are redefining what's possible in higher ed marketing. The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.